हर स्क्रिप्ट का अपना एक सफ़र होता है। तो चलिए ऐसे ही एक सफ़र पे जिसका नाम है स्क्रिप्टनामा। हेलो एंड वेलकम टू द फोर्थ एपिसोड ऑफ स्क्रिप्टनामा, एक ऐसा पॉडकास्ट जो कहानी के पीछे की कहानी सुनाता है। आज हमारे साथ एक ऐसे राइटर डायरेक्टर है जिन्होंने अमेजॉन प्राइम के काफी सारे स्टैंड अप स्पेशल्स डायरेक्ट किए, लाइक कोई लोड नहीं, हाहाकार। प्लीज वेलकम ऑन द शो मिस्टर करण असनानी।
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
If you don't know why we called Karan on this particular show, so let me tell you that he has written a very beautiful short story called Match, and he has also directed it and he has also produced it. So we are gonna go on a journey of how he came up with the idea of Match, how he wrote it, how he directed it, and how and why he produced it. Karan, will you please tell us, was writing your first love or directing, and how the affair started?
Direction obviously is my first love. I've always pursued direction. I've always wanted to direct because while growing up, I'm not from Mumbai. I'm from Kanpur. And we came here. We moved here as a family. We moved to Bombay when I was 12. And I think when that shift happened between the cities, I became an introvert. I feel I became
Acha.
very quiet as a person,
Yeah.
as far as I can remember. And then I used to I had like a small digital camera which I used to experiment with, this that. So when I was making something and it's a 480p digital camera and I had Windows Movie Maker. So just shooting random things and just compiling it, and I used to be very excited, as though I've created some masterpiece. I used to do those random clips I used to make and compile on my computer. And I realized that I was enjoying what I was doing. When I was in college, we were like enthusiastic first year students, and I started making a bunch of short films, not only with college friends, but also with my school friends who were also, interested in filmmaking. And that's when I realized that maybe what I was trying to speak to my friends, I don't know if they were as interested in hearing me in person. But when I made a film and I said something through it, they were very excited to see. So that's when I was like, you know what? My friends and people, not only friends, everyone around me is more interested in knowing about me or knowing what I do through this.
So then, how did writing happen?
So when we were in our first year of college, everyone's writing their own scripts without any idea. And then in the second year, I think the best thing happened to me. Satyanshu sir came in our lives. He was our professor for understanding cinema. And I think that changed.
He changed the entire perspective and entire.
Yeah, he changed lives of the students who were interested in filmmaking, that is, and me being one of them. So just the kind of passion and the knowledge that that man has and the way he's communicated that to us
Right.
over the span of 6 months, I think that became a game changer because the exercise that he made us do, the readings, the scripts that he recommended to us, and just we had to make a film by the end of that semester also.
Yeah.
He just filtered, he gave us so many assignments, exercises, and just kept filtering us so that we don't, get complacent. Okay, just because we are pursuing mass media doesn't mean that we are filmmakers.
Yeah.
So that exercise that he made us, go through that in those 6 months, I think that became a game changer because he has always been an active part of films ever since I think Udan or even before that happened. I have always looked up to him and still do.
So the idea that you told, the journey that you have been so far looks like a kid passionate about or finding something interesting, using that as a tool to communicate. I would still call that kid an amateur. Yeah. So which was that one short film or one project that turned that amateur Karan into a professional Karan?
So I got into the habit of making short films, right?
Yes.
From 2011 to 2013, when I was in college, kept making short films,
Right.
sending it to festivals. When I was pursuing journalism in my final year, I made, like a montage-based film on Muhammad Ali Road.
Okay.
And I sent it to Mami, like properly this time. So that was, quite a boost for me. Once college ended, I knew that this is the profession that I want to enter, but I still didn't know the exact designation that I wanted to pursue, right?
Right.
So I started out shooting because I had learned
Yeah. You interned at a production house. You had an experience of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I knew how to operate digital
Uh-huh.
cameras. And because that shift from, film to digital had already happened
Yeah.
when the
Yes.
5Ds had come in.
Yeah.
So I started shooting. And then I realized that, I'm more interested in edits. So I started shooting. I did, a wide variety of projects from corporate films to, shooting short films for other friends. Weddings also I've shot. So I've done, that entire course. And that's when I, realized that I was more interested in edits, so my liking towards edits started increasing.
Right.
I just started, experimenting, and I don't know how it all works. And now when I'm talking to you right now, I'm, just trying to connect the dots. That maybe because I have, as a child, done those random montage videos, yeah, on Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah.
It, made me come back to it for some reason.
So, how many short films you have written before you wrote or made
Match. I've made a bunch of short films and a lot of bad ones also.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
वो सीखने का प्रोसेस था मेरा.
Obvious.
But that's a good thing also कि बनाना बंद नहीं किया मैंने कुछ कि अगर कुछ
Yes.
बुरा भी बना है.
Yeah.
I still was in the habit of making short films. See, let's not count the films that I made in college. Or do you want to count that? Because
I
those
want
were
to count how much
those
you
were-
have written before you reached
okay,
to the
written wise, right?
Yeah.
Written. Okay.
Written before you wrote Match. Because to be very honest, I absolutely loved Match. When I saw
Thank
it,
you.
I
Thank you.
knew I have to call you.
Thank you.
I knew this is the film that I want to talk, because usually we talk about web series, films, web shows, and TV shows. We somehow neglect the beauty and the impact and effect of short stories. For me, Match was that one short story that I wanted to talk about on my podcast.
Thank you.
But again, I know Match is not your first short story.
No,
So I want to know how much you have worked before you could write something like Match, because it's very mature. Match is very mature. Match is very interesting. We will talk about that in detail. But yeah, just to give us a number of projects that you wrote before you wrote Match.
I think about 4 to 5 short films I have co-written. I wouldn't say written entirely, co-written, including Maza Honeymoon. There's another short film by my friend Kushagra called Bambaiya. That also. Then there was a short film that I made in 2018 called Sheher Ya Tum.
I think that got an award as well.
Yes, that won at Mami actually.
Yeah.
So that won Dimensions Mumbai, the category that I had applied when I was in 12th. I finally,
Woohoo!
made a film and it clicked and it worked very well for me also personally.
Yeah. Guys, do check the short film.
Thank you. Yeah, they're all on YouTube.
Yes.
So I have a channel called Myoho Films. So you can check out my short films there.
Sure.
So yeah, about 4 to 5 short films, scripts that I co-wrote before I wrote Match.
Now, tell us about the day or the time when the idea of Match came to you. Take us on a journey of writing, directing, and making Match.
I was going through something personal in my relationship, and I didn't know how to, come out of it. I was in a very strange headspace. I hadn't written anything for the longest time. 2018, 2019, 2020 March तक मैंने कुछ नहीं लिखा था. And I was just feeling very stuck. And I had gone through a breakup. And then the lockdown happened. And कुछ option नहीं था, घर पे बैठे हुए थे. And you had to address your thoughts.
Yes.
जो पिछले 2 साल से मैं अपने थॉट्स को डिस्ट्रैक्ट कर रहा था चीज़ों में, इधर उधर बाकी कामों में, वो एड्रेस नहीं हो रहे थे. एंड आई गॉट टू एड्रेस इन द लॉकडाउन व्हाट माय थॉट्स वर एंड आई रोट इट डाउन. कि जो बात मुझे कहनी थी, जो मैं नहीं कह पाया, मतलब दोनों तरफ से जो बातें मेरे हिसाब से, इट्स ऑब्वियसली फ्रॉम माय लिमिटेड स्टैंड पॉइंट एज अ पर्सन, एज अ बॉयफ्रेंड, वो मेरे नज़रिए से है. लेट मी जस्ट पुट इट आउट देयर. तो कुड हैव्स कि अगर ऐसा बात करते ऐसा होता, वो मैंने लिखा. एंड आई रोट इट only to take it off my chest because it was too much. And I wrote only one scene. It was supposed to be only like a 2-minute film. जो starting का scene है film में, when they are under the bedsheet, under the covers, और बात कर रहे हैं that do you believe in soulmates? And क्या पता कि ऐसे भी 2 और लोग हों कहीं और पे, हमारे जैसे जो बात कर रहे हो,
going through the same
thing at the same time. So that's what I wrote, and I was very happy with it. कि okay, it's a micro piece. It's a micro short film. Under the covers. उसका नाम actually मैंने रखा था Pillow Talk. It was supposed to be a 2-minute scene. And I don't know. I felt like I should go back to it. Just you once you write something, you go back to it. You make changes. You want to fine tune it further, further, further. And then I realized that there is so much inside of me that I wanted to say actually, जो मैं नहीं बोल पाया था अपने relationship में. मैं सब लिखते गया, लिखते गया, लिखते गया. And then it became like 3 scenes. It starts with the bedroom scene, then the kitchen, and then the living room. So it's all based on the could haves, the things that I wanted to say, the things I wanted to hear, the unsaid things.
So tell me now, which was the most difficult scene for you to write for Match? Easiest also, but I want to go for the difficult one.
Match, when I wrote the first scene, and when I started exploring the idea more after writing that, the 2-pager, as I mentioned, I figured out an end because normally I struggle with ends.
Right.
This time I figured out an end. I wanted to, that 2 parallel couples exist, maybe in some universe, and they're having the exact same conversation. It is hyperfiction. ऐसा reality में मुमकिन तो नहीं है कि exact word to word same बातें हो रही हैं. But I wanted to put that idea out. कि what if these, 2 couples at the same time in some other time and space are talking about the same thing, and what if sometime in the future they cross paths and fall for each other? Because मेरा idea उस time वो था that basically 2 अलग लोग हैं, but अगर हम अपना first जो main couple है अपना, which is Namit and Zara, they are not named in the film. I removed the names.
Okay. They're in the script only.
They're named in the script, but all the characters in the film are unnamed because I didn't want to give them. I didn't want anyone to start building their own backstory कि इसका नाम नमित है, इसका नाम ज़ारा है, ये इस एज ग्रुप की है, ये उस एज ग्रुप का है, ये उसका ये बैकग्राउंड होगा, ये बैकग्राउंड होगा. So I've kept them nameless as characters because I wanted to focus only on what they're talking about.
Yes.
So that was like a conscious decision. I haven't named the city that they are, where she's going.
You broke some rules, bro.
I wanted to because my point was, when I hear a name, anyone starts building a backstory. Kyo,
Yes.
this is what it is. And maybe this may be the reason of their breakup, this, that. I'm like, no. Because their equation and they are dealing with it in a very mature way. You can see that they are in their 20s, early 20s, maybe mid 20s. But वो जो बात कर रहे हैं, breakup हो रहा है, but they are addressing it. They are also, making some jokes about it. They have accepted it. They are not
fighting it. They are not denying it. They are not going ugly on it.
correct. And I didn't want to do that because normally breakups ko we show it in a particular light.
Yeah.
It always ends on a bad note.
Yeah.
Of course, it's very tough, and it's tough for both these characters also.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to go in the angry or aggressive way.
Yeah.
So that's what the idea was with Match.
Okay. And then how much time did you roughly took to reach to the final draft?
I think the 6th draft, the final draft. As I mentioned, the first draft was a 2-pager. It was called Pillow Talk.
Yeah.
And I started writing in April. I worked on a bunch of scripts. I'm sure like every person who is a writer or a creative person must have utilized that time in the lockdown to come up with something. तो अप्रैल में स्टार्ट किया था मैंने, and then finally मैंने अगस्त में जाके कंप्लीट किया था वो. And not that I was working only on this, I was doing a couple of other things, but I used to write, then not look at it for a week, then come back, read it. So yeah, there was 6 drafts, and then I think around the 4th draft is when I had fleshed it out as a 3-scene film with the structure that you finally see.
Yeah.
Is when I spoke to my friend and colleague Aves, who's a very good writer, and I asked him to go through it, fine tune it, add, delete, because he's been like a creative collaborator since the last couple of years.
Okay.
And I really like his what he does in terms of
fine tuning the
fine-tuning. That is so important.
Yeah.
And you have to be very rational about it.
Yeah.
Like you have to kill your darlings also. You have
Yes,
to let
yes.
go of scenes that are
Yeah.
not working.
Yeah.
And anyway, this is a slow burner as a film.
Yeah.
We knew because we used to read it, and we used to read it on Zoom. Multiple Zoom
Meeting.
readings we have done. And we knew कि कहाँ पे क्या आ रहा है. But उस film को वो ठहराव चाहिए था मेरे हिसाब से.
Right.
इसलिए वो दिया है. There's another friend and collaborator I'd like to mention, Gauri Avasthi.
Okay.
I had sent the film to her also, the script to her also, for her to, bring out if there are any nuances, because she worked on Shehra Tum also alongside me.
Acha.
And Gauri and Ashna both during Shehriya Tum. On the day of the shoot, they came up with some things in the script that made the film better. They made it more sensitive, especially from a female point of view. Because I am writing from my limited male point of view, irrespective of having lived the relationship and that experience. So yeah, Gauri helped in pointing out a couple of things in the script from the female character's point of view, and then Always came on board and just helped
as an additional screenplay writer.
Yeah.
So you always knew that you were gonna direct the film and nobody else,
Yeah.
and you always knew that you're gonna produce it, or you thought that somebody else could also produce it.
I wanted to make it myself.
And when did you direct it?
Match,
Huh?
2020. Like when the lockdown started getting like
The first kind of a break.
yeah, it was getting lifted.
Uh-huh,
It was starting, it started getting easy. So October 2020 is when we shot it.
So you had a story,
Yeah.
okay, about the couple breakup. When and how you incorporated, or you came with the idea of flash forward, and why not flash back, but you call it flash forward in the script?
Going back to the idea of the film and why I made it in the first place and why the characters are behaving the way they are, why are they saying the things that they are saying, is because एक breakup ugly कब होता है, गुस्सा कब होता है? Because the characters don't know what's going to happen. They are not hopeful about each other, about life. Here, I want to break that. They are hopeful people, okay? And they're casually talking about, what if I find someone in the future who's exactly like you? And what if you find someone who's exactly like me? We tried our best, but abhi workout nahi ho raha hai. So let's, respectfully close this chapter. But kya pata mujhe tumhare jaisa koi mil jaye. And she says that also.
Right.
And I was trying to change that in myself as a person because I had also shut down as a person. When you go through a breakup, you're like, I was like, okay, there's nothing after this. So morose
It
around you.
feels like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to break that and, consciously make it hopeful that, okay, what, I need to look at my own life from a different perspective. यहाँ पे life खत्म नहीं हुई है.
Yeah.
What if I find someone in the future? What if I find someone better in the future?
Right.
What if I find someone who understands what my past is, what I have gone through?
Right.
Taking that as the idea,
Mm-hmm.
I introduced the other couple into the story.
And now let's do a small table read. We will read a scene from the match, its script.
So we are in the present with the couple. The couple lies in a moment of silence, caressing each other's bodies. Namit. कभी कभी लगता है लाइफ में ज़्यादा आगे की प्लानिंग करनी ही नहीं चाहिए. ज़ारा. है ना? You know what they say. If we want to make God laugh, हमें उन्हें अपने फ्यूचर प्लान्स बता देने चाहिए. Namit smiles. Dude, that's quite an intimidating thought, no? Damn. I can picture God laughing at everything that I wish for. Is that why this is happening? Even God thinks we're not soulmates. Zara. यार, तुम्हें पता है ना? I've never really understood the concept of soulmates. This idea of one perfect person, janmo ka saath, it's too far-fetched. Namit slowly stops caressing Zara. A beat. Zara continues. What if there were two other people we were destined to be with? And what if they were seeing each other and having this same conversation at this very moment? And then we cut to a future montage.
What are those 3-4 things that you see in a script when it comes to you to produce it?
I'll tell you what works for me when someone sends me a script. Along with the script, if someone can share the concept in a one pager, like there was this email that I got where there was a script, there was a one pager, and also the intention behind making the film. And along with that, writer has also recorded the entire thing as a, not the entire thing, but उन्होंने एक scene पढ़ के भेजा है मुझे. तो उससे मैं immediately समझ पा रहा था, okay. Because the thing is, I don't have only a producer's mind, right? I'm more director than a producer or a writer or anything else. Like, not that that is a mandate. If there is a script, you send that. But if there is something that someone you can just write, ki, okay, this is what the film is about, and this is what made me write it.
The intention.
The intent, if that can come through, I think that really helps.
And now I'm going to put you in a lot of trouble by asking you this. Where we should reach to you to send our scripts and to send the pitch of the script?
There's an email ID that you can write to. It's myohofilmsindia@gmail.com. MYOHO filmsindia@gmail.com. All in small. No special characters, no nothing.
So please give us your top 10 films that you think every writer should see and 10 screenplays that you think every writer should read.
Okay, script wise, I'll talk about Hindi films only.
Sure.
Yeah, because I'm a fan of Hindi films.
Yes, yes, we all are.
Yeah. So scripts that I have really enjoyed reading and also जो film उनकी बनी है, it's translated so well, is दम लगा के हाइशा, written by Sharat Kataria. Then there is आँखों देखी.
Written by Rajat Kapoor.
Yes, and there is Masan, written by Varun Grover.
Yes.
And Neeraj Ghewan,
Neeraj
both of them.
Ghewan, yes.
Actually, these three films, I think I just
Yeah.
love these three films.
Yeah.
Even if you read the scripts are available on Film Companion.
Yes.
So anyone can access them from there. Then I'd like to suggest any Shakespeare adaptation by Vishal Bharadwaj.
Oh.
बट उसके लिए पहले आप शेक्सपियर का प्ले भी पढ़िए.
अच्छा.
हाँ. और फिर उनका स्क्रिप्ट या वो फिल्म देख लीजिए, वो एक ही बात है, because you'll understand. So either depending on what your inclination is, out of the three, you can pick one. One very interesting film is Court that came out in 2014.
Yeah.
It's so I love watching political films, and that is incredible as a film.
Yeah.
Chaitanya Tamane made it. He wrote, directed it.
Yes.
The beauty of that film is it's written in English, Hindi, Marathi, and a couple of other languages also.
Okay.
But वो इतना seamlessly flow करता है, you don't even realize the jump in the language. So characters are talking in English, in Hindi, in Marathi.
I've seen the film. I haven't read the screenplay, but I've seen the film.
Yeah, like of course it's very well crafted.
Yeah.
But language-wise, that kind of grasp that he made it so seamless. It didn't seem like a language jump.
Right. That definitely goes into must read.
Yeah, or must watch or must read. I think as a screenwriter, when you see it, you will realize how seamless it keeps changing the language. And I would like to recommend one Yash Chopra film also.
Sure.
Which is Kabhi Kabhi.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The writer of that is Sagar Sarhadi. He wrote it. And some really powerful scenes there. Really powerful scenes in terms of the screen description. Even when you see the film, the blocking that they have done camera-wise is really, like, it's impeccable.
Yeah.
And dialogues, obviously.
Yeah.
So these
obviously
would be...
beautiful lyrics and music तो है ही.
Oh.
मतलब
Sahir Ludhianvi and
yes.
Khayyam Saab.
Yeah.
ये script-wise ये होंगी. If you can find scripts, read them or not watch films. Because as I mentioned, I'm more of a visual than screenwriter.
Definitely.
Visual person than being a screenwriter. So either or works. But if you get your hands on a script, then please read it. Read and then watch the film.
Right. Yeah.
It just gives you so much more perspective.
Yes. Yeah. Sure.
Apart from that, a couple of other films that I would like to recommend. Village Rockstars by Reema Das. Because that film, it's in Assamese and very, very limited dialogue in the film.
Yeah.
It's mostly action based and just and the setting is so it just takes you in that world.
Right.
I love that film. So just the way it flows, the pace of it, and even the character development, what happens. So that would be a film to watch, definitely. Apart from that, there's a film I saw at Mami years ago, Iranian film called Barf, Snow. I actually like ensemble characters. When there are multiple characters, they get into discussions, arguments, quarrels are happening, overlap ho raha hai. That film was set inside a house where a family, like a big family, is just going through a lot of tension within the family, and it's snowing outside. That, and also for camera blocking, the way they have, like, they were handheld and a wide shot with like 4 people or 5 people, it becomes a 2 shot after a point when the conversation goes there. Then that same shot, continuous shot, becomes an over the shoulder shot.
Oh.
So it's a very interesting film how they have translated the written material into like performance.
The visual interpretation is like amazing.
Yeah. Another film that I like to recommend to everyone, that I recommend anyway, is The Kings of Summer.
The Kings of Summer.
Yeah. It's a story of friends in their teenage. They want to be adults. They run away from home and make a house in the woods. So, like self-discovery, so many hormones, but so sensitively done. Apart from that, there's a film that I saw last year called Mogul Mowgli. उसमें Riz Ahmed है, the same actor who was in Sound of Metal. I like this film much better than Sound of Metal. Like, you don't have to compare, but anyway, both the films came in the same year and had the same lead actor. I think that changed a lot of things. It gave me so much perspective as a person, as a director. Just generally, it was when I saw it, immediately it went in my list of favorites. So, Mogul Mowgli. Apart from that, I really enjoy dark comedies. So, Four Lions is a British film that you must watch. उसमें भी Riz Ahmed है actually. And there is Kamine by Vishal Bharadwaj, which is again very good. And there are like two comedy films that are very interesting. One is 99 by Rajan DK.
Yeah. I loved that film. I loved that film. Yeah, man. Very interesting.
Very interesting film. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, and there's another film called Lions of Punjab. It's an Indian, Indian film only. Manish Acharya was the director. I don't know when it came out. I think the early 2000s. Very interesting film. Check it whenever.
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
And now I want to thank Karan for coming to our show, talking to us, telling us about his journey. I really enjoyed talking to you, Karan. It felt like, wow, man, like if somebody can, use filmmaking as a way of expression, as a way of communication, it's beautiful. And I think that really translates into what kind of work you do, into the kind of films that you do. And really, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and you've been a great host. So thank you for having me. And independent short films को इतना लोग weightage नहीं देते हैं, but so glad that you found the film, you saw it and you liked it, and you made an episode out of it. So really grateful.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much once again, and thank you Ashish and the studio also.
Thank you for listening to our episode. We hope you enjoyed it and found some answers and insights. If you liked it, please subscribe the show and share it with your friends. You can also follow us on Instagram for regular updates. Details mentioned in the description. Thank you for your time.